Hello everyone. So for my capstone project, I've gonna taken a fundamental issue which we all CAs face, especially the mid-tier and the small tier firms, right? So that's the prospective client that I'm looking at. Imagine having a client service for ITR where the revenue is, let's say, 2000 rupees. That's for a mid-tier and a small tier firm. Now here, what becomes difficult for a CA is to judge how much cost has been levied in this 2000 rupees. Let's say we have a paid intern, okay, a paid assistant, and we are paying him usually in a smaller mid-tier firm, it's somewhere around 40,000, a paid assistant who's been working with us for a long time. Now, as a general rule, we consider that the monthly hours are 160. Okay, so the hourly rate of this particular resource is ideally 40,000 divided by 160, which is 250 rupees per hour. Now, if for this ITR filing he has worked for 8 hours, okay, I'll say hours charged is 8 hours, right? In that case, 8 actually is a huge number, so somewhere around 5 hours, which is data collection, calculation, everything. So the cost that is levied is equal to 5 hours into the hourly rate of 250, which is 1250. My net profit out of this engagement, right, or rather gross profit, because I'll have to subtract some indirect expenses as well, is just 750 rupees. That's what CAs fail to estimate and understand, and that's the problem that I'm trying to solve for them. Along with this, a lot of times people are not availing leaves, or CAs are not able to track their leaves. For this, we are not able to ascertain which resource is actually an efficient resource for us and which resource is not interested in working and is not delivering as good as the other resources. To solve all of these issues and more, so I gave this prompt to ChatGPT wherein I wanted it to act as a software expert architect, and draft a detailed BRD document for developing an application. I gave it a chosen name, SyncUp, and I gave it the corresponding functionalities that this particular application should have. If you'll see, I have the user module, what kind of roles should be there, timesheet module, project master, leaves module, so on and so forth. Basis my prompt, a detailed prompt, ChatGPT drafted a detailed BRD document somewhere around 5-6 pages. I utilized this particular document and pasted it in a corresponding Word document where I reviewed the output of ChatGPT, made the required changes as needed for my particular application, for my thought process, and I also added a last twist, which is once you complete the app, then make it a progressive web application. Using this, I went ahead to Google AI Studio, and with this, I generated this particular application by providing my initial prompt as the BRD document. Following multiple iterations that you see on the left side, Google AI Studio was able to build this final application for me. Now let me show you some key functionalities of how this particular application operates. So firstly, I go to here my screen and I have the basic roles of each of the individuals. Now this is a test version of my application. I'm going to show you the final production version as well, which is linked to Google. But just for test version, I've shared this with you, wherein you'll be able to log in with each of the roles and perform the duties exactly the way a person would do. So let me choose Suraj as one of the employees. I'm going to sign in. And here for Suraj, you see there are different times which have been entered. So I'm going to choose the week next. Okay. And I'm going to input certain time. Let's say for Innovate Corp internal testing, I have devoted 8 hours here and I've devoted 4 hours here. As soon as I press 4 hours, what do you see? The minimum hours should be 8. Similar to this, if I press 13 hours here, you'll see an error given, which is maximum hours should be 12. So I'm going to modify this, make this 11, add a few more hours in another project of Sync Energy, and I can add another project as I want from here as another row. right? Where I spent 8 hours here. Basis the allocation of Suraj, as soon as I do save changes and I log out from here, I go to the admin portal. What I'm able to see is 6 more modules. If you remember, in Suraj, we were able to only see timesheets and leaves because that's the access that the employee should have. But for admin should have access to everything. Dashboards giving quick graphs about the profitability of individual projects. Timesheets, again, if the admin wants to file their own timesheet. Leaves, to apply the leaves and the corresponding approvals, which we'll just see in a minute. When I go to projects, this is where things get interesting. I have all the project numbers. The project ID is generated automatically. I can create a project from here using add project. And here is where I input the task name, the client name, project revenue, and the assigned partner. It can be any partner in the firm. So my revenue is here. The corresponding cost which has been incurred has been updated in real time here, right? And how do we update this, or how do we arrive at that calculation? This is where I go to the employee master, and you will see that for Suraj, the hourly rate is 250, right? Why? Because the corresponding salary of Suraj was 40,000. So let me show this in real time to you. I add another employee named Rashi, right? The designation is senior associate. Here's an employee, and Mike is the manager of this employee, and the rate is 60,000. Add it. With 60,000, the corresponding hourly rate, which is automatically calculated, is 375. Now let me go and log in using Rashi. Here automatically and login for Rashi comes up. I sign in, and now I'm gonna add a detail. Let's say for Synergy financial audit, I'm gonna add 1 hour, right? Or let me add 8 hours. Okay, I'm gonna save the changes. Similarly, I'm also gonna apply for a leave, so I add a request. Let's say on 19th of September 2025, I want a leave to be taken. Reason is a family function. Okay, and I submit the request. Do you see this is currently being shown in pending status? With this, we move to our third user, which is the manager level, which is Mike. Now this resembles the admin block, but is slightly different. The dashboard is here, and you will see the corresponding cost has been incurred, the profitability has been reduced. If I go to the projects, you will see for Synergy, there is an addition of 375 as compared to the last figure. 375 into 8, right? So as compared to the last figure, here we have more numbers. Similarly, if I go to leaves, I can apply for my own leaves, which is Mike can apply for his own leaves, but there are team approvals which are here. And you see there is an entry for Rashi for 19th of September, which is shown as pending. As soon as I approve it through the button, it's clicked as approved. And what do you see? Firstly, under the projects, I have a earned leave of 3,000 which has been added. That's the kind of leave that Rashi applied. So the cost and everything is updated in real time. Similar to this, I go back to Rashi, I sign in, and do you see under the leaves, 19 September is being shown in the approved status. Interesting, isn't it? Here, I'm gonna log out, and with this, we are there in the corresponding manager section or the admin section for reporting. So there are 3 reports. One is a time report, a leave report, and a profitability report. I'm going to download all 3 of them, open all 3 of them to show you how the data looks like. So these are readily exportable Excel reports which give you the profitability, the corresponding leave report I'm going to show you in detail, and the time report. This is all the time that the resources have charged so far. I can take you to the leaves time. This is the leaves that the resources have taken so far, what is in pending, what is in approved stage, everything is being shown here. And finally, this is the project profitability, which gives you a client-wise, task-wise, what is the total revenue, total cost, and the corresponding profitability that we are on. Interesting. So this solves the major issues related to how we can define or what we can define as revenue, as cost, managing the time, the hours, everything for a client. There are certain from and to filters which have been applied. Here we'll see. So if I want to see leaves, I'm gonna go to the admin portal for this. So here do you see team approvals? If I want to see leaves related to only September, I can select the from filter and I'm seeing the leaves only for September. These are some key functionalities of this particular tool. What I did further was I integrated this application and deployed it on the Google Cloud. Right? So I integrated this with the corresponding Google authentication mechanism and deployed it using the Google Cloud Console and created a OAuth client ID. Using this particular ID and updating my corresponding code using this particular client ID, if you'll see here in the code, right, I was able to integrate these two mechanisms. Right, here is the client ID that we are referring to. Now, once that was created, I was able to log into this application using an administrator login, right? Or we can have a Google login as well. So when I click on Google login, so here you will see all the 3 accounts which are professionally being used in this particular Google profile are shown to me. I'm going to select my account, sulabhgupta@riskywhite.com. It's going to log in to this particular application. And what do you see on your screen is now I've been logged in as Sulabh Gupta as an admin. Right? If I go to Employee Master, you'll see this is the admin account that has been created for me along with the other dummy accounts, and I can add more and more employees and assign them roles as per needs. Correspondingly, all the functionalities that were available to me as an admin in the test version of the application are available to me here as well. That's how I used ChatGPT using the BRD creation. Then I deployed it or created the application using Google AI Studio, and I deployed it using Google Cloud as my backend. And I also used the authentication mechanism of Google using the OAuth client. Finally, for everyone to understand how this application is working, I developed this SyncUp user manual, which is again there as a part of my all the zip documents that I've shared with you. The source code, user manual, the prompt, the BRD, everything is available in that zip. And here anyone and everyone who's new to this application can just read through and analyze and see what the validations are built in, what are the different modules, what all tasks can be done in this application. Everything is given in detail here. So with this, I aim to solve the very problem of my own brothers as CA Fraternity, the chargeability problem that they're facing, tracking of employee efficiencies, what they're facing, and finally to analyze if they are generating a profit and how much profit, or they are actually at loss for a particular engagement. That's what I aim at solving for the entire CA Fraternity, especially the mid-tier and the small-tier firms. I hope you liked this capstone project.